Introduce myself. My name is Allie. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and a nationally certified Pilates instructor. I've been practicing in the Boston area for the last 5 years. I just opened my own practice a couple of months ago. And so I'm excited to teach this program today, a 30-minute program on back pain. I do have a question here. Is it okay to record this session? We're recording all of these sessions and they will be posted later, so I can give you guys some more information about that. But for today's program, it's going to be mostly movement-based. We're going to do some strengthening, some stretching, and then we'll save a little bit of time talking about ergonomics, and then we'll go over any questions you guys have. If you kind of stick around at the end of class, we'll go over that feedback app that I mentioned. Feedback is important to make the program as good as we can make it every week and continue to get better and continue to improve. So if you guys are just logging in, this class is for you, and I want this class to feel good for your back. Your back's different than my back. It's different than your neighbor's back. So please listen to your back and listen to how your body feels as we move. I'm going to give lots and lots of modifications and options for how you can move. Please take the right option for your body. And if something really doesn't feel right, just sit it out and join back into the next exercise. So with that being said, we're going to start lying down on your mat. If you would like to use a small pillow to support your head, you can grab that now. And you can also choose to have your legs extended flat on the mat. Or if that bothers your back with your legs all the way flat, go ahead and bend your knees. Sometimes having your legs all the way straight can be a lot of pressure on your back. You can go ahead and choose that position that feels good for you and just take a moment to settle in. And as you guys settle down onto your mat, I know for some of you, this is the afternoon. Some people were just getting our day started. Take a moment to check in with your body. Let your body melt down onto the mat. Allow your head to rest down heavy and your hips to settle in. And as your body rests down on the mat, start to scan your body. Just tune into how it feels, starting from the very top of your head all the way down to your toes. And there's really no right or wrong. I just want you guys to notice how your back feels, any differences from side to side, any spots of tension, and just notice it for right now. And as you get connected to how your body feels on the mat, start to tune your attention into your breathing. So the way we breathe, it can actually relax muscles in our back, and it can help to strengthen some of the muscles that support our back. So just as we practice our breath, we're already making positive changes for our spine. So as you pay attention to how your breath is moving, notice if it's up high in your shoulders, or maybe down low in your belly, or even wide out to the side in your rib cage. I encourage you to try and send that breath down lower into your belly, taking big inhale breaths in through your nose, and then exhaling out through the mouth, trying to get rid of some of that stale air in our lungs. So a nice inhale and then a deep exhale breath. And just notice how that helps some of the muscles around your spine to relax. And maybe you can even start to feel some of those deeper core muscles turn on. We'll take one more deep breath just like that. And I'm going to join you guys down onto the mat so we can add in our first movement. So if your legs are extended, go ahead and bend both of your knees. Place your feet flat on the floor. And we're going to start with some very gentle pelvic tilts to introduce some movement to our low back. So a pelvic tilt is curling your tailbone up towards your face and then letting it go. If you can imagine the space underneath your lower back, you're just gently rocking to close that space and then open the space. Closing the space under your low back and opening. Now, if this is the first movement you're doing for your spine today, it might be a little bit stiff, and that's okay. Just work within the comfortable range of motion that your spine allows, And as you start to add some movement, hopefully that range of motion gets a little bit bigger. It's normal to have a little bit of cracking or popping here. As long as that's not painful, just gently allow your spine to move. We'll try 3 more. Last 2. One more time here, and then walk your feet together, knees together. Allow your arms to rest down by your side comfortably. We're going to introduce rotation to our back. So now, very gentle, start to rock your legs side to side. And you're only letting your legs go as far as you can without feeling any pinching, stress, or strain in your lower back. So you might have a different side to side, and that's okay. I encourage you to try and keep your knees together and feet together here. That's what will help the stretch to go into your back and not into your hips. And I promise you, we will stretch your hips in a moment, but for right now, let's focus on the lower back. It's okay for your hips to lift off the mat here, but you want to keep your shoulders down on the mat. And again, this is just gentle. As you start to move, you may be able to go a little bit farther each time. We'll try 2 more. And one more time, we'll settle right in the middle. Awesome, guys. So go ahead and separate your feet about hip distance apart. And you want to make sure that your heels are close enough to your bottom so that you can touch them. We're going to prepare for our first strengthening exercise of the day for our glutes, our hip muscles. Our glutes provide a really important support for our spine when we bend over, when we pick things up, even when we're walking and going up and down stairs. So from here, we're lifting our hips up to the ceiling and just holding. In this position, if you feel stress in your lower back, try and bring your front rib cage down a little bit, and then bring your hands to your glutes, your butt muscles, and make sure that they're actually working. They should be what creates movement here, not your lower back. So you can work to just hold this position. If you feel comfortable, we're going to start to move by lowering the hips down, lifting the hips up. So you're gently lowering and lifting, just tapping your hips to the floor and bringing it back up. Again, you should feel the work in your glutes, your butt muscles, not in your lower back. So take that moment to reset if you need to, finding that position where you feel the hips working. Try and press down into both of your feet, especially your big toe, as well as your heel. We'll do 3 more here. That's it, guys. Last 2. One more time, and then take a little rest. Now, if you've taken my class before, you're pretty comfortable with bridging. We're going to do a second set of single leg bridges. If this is new for you, I'd like you to do a second set of what we just did, that double leg bridge. So go ahead and lift your hips on up, holding the hips steady at the same height. Bring your right leg to tabletop. Make sure your right hip did not collapse down, that it's still at the same height as your left, and then pull your right knee in and push it out. Right knee in and push it out. So as you move your right leg, your left hip is totally still, and the front of your right hip is at the same height as your left. Push down into your arms for support. One more there. Place that foot down, drop your hips down, take a quick moment to reset. And then we'll try the second side. So go ahead, lift those hips up, left leg to tabletop, and then press out and pull in. So as you move this left leg, I really like single leg work here just to show you maybe which side is harder. And I'm sure you guys can know this. You feel stronger a little bit on one side than the other. 2 more. Beautiful. One more time here. Bend it in, place it down, drop your hips down, and take a little rest. Nice work, guys. So we just strengthened the back side of our body. We're going to work now on the front side of our body that supports our spine, which is our core. So start by pulling your right knee in towards your chest and gently hug that leg. Stretch the left leg out and float it off the floor. If this feels like pressure on your back, lift your left leg up a little bit higher. If this feels really easy, lower that left leg down. Now for pregnancy, please keep your head down, but if you've practiced in my class before and you want to challenge, curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Holding here, we switch the legs in space. So having your head lifted gives you a view of your spine. And the point of this exercise is spine stability, meaning move our legs in space. So work to keep your spine and maybe watch your spine stay still as you practice. 4, 3, 2, last time, rest your head down for just a moment. We're going to practice and build adding a straight leg version. If that felt hard for you, you're going to stick with that option. So otherwise, extend the right leg up. You can hold behind the knee or up as high as you can on your ankle. Curl head, neck, and shoulders up. Stretch the left leg out long and scissor the legs to switch. Scissor the legs to switch. So here, same idea. The spine is still trying to stay still, except now we get a much bigger stretch into our hamstrings and our hips. We go for 4, 3, last 2. Last time, hug the knees in, head down, and gently massage out the spine. Place your feet down on the mat. We're now going to take the right ankle on top of your left thigh. Now, this might already feel like a stretch for the outside of your right hip, and if it does, stay here. Otherwise, you're going to reach behind your left thigh and pull your knee in towards your chest. And that will deepen the stretch in your right hip. Now, I sometimes get questions here. Why are we stretching our hips when it's a class about back pain? Our hips and our back, they move very close together. A lot of our movement patterns are linked. So the more flexible our hips can be, the less stress our lower back feels when we do movements. Now, if you want to deepen this stretch, you could take your right hand on your right knee and press it away from your body, just gently. And you can see how that changes the stretch a little bit here. We'll take one more breath. And then lower our legs down, and we're going to switch to the other side. So this time our left ankle goes on top of our right thigh. If you need to pick your leg up to get a deeper stretch, you're going to hug behind the right thigh. Now I'm going to come up and take a quick peek because I know this stretch can be confusing sometimes. And we'll see how everybody's feeling here. Very nice modifications. You guys look great. Now, some of you have your shin on your knee instead of your ankle. Try and slide it to your ankle. That's going to make it a slightly different stretch. Good, and you have the option now to take that left hand to your left knee, gently press it away from your body. And then bring your knees in towards your chest and roll out your spine. Carefully now, we're going to rock and roll ourselves right up to a seated position and then flip on over to the all fours. So in the all fours position, your hands should be underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. If you have wrist sensitivity, you can come down onto your forearms. If you have knee sensitivity, you can add a pillow underneath your knees or maybe roll up your mat a couple of times to give yourself a little bit of extra padding. So go ahead and set up in whatever position feels comfortable for your body. And then we're going to start to do a cat-cow. So very gently rounding your spine, allowing your head to drop down, and then allowing your back to arch. Now, your spine's range of motion is going to look different than mine. It's going to look different than your neighbor's. Work within your comfortable range here. But think about initiating this movement from your rib cage. So you're pulling your rib cage up and dropping your rib cage down. And just explore that for a moment. We'll do one more time here. And then we're going to settle somewhere right in the middle. So somewhere in that halfway position, thinking about lengthening the top of your head, we're going to try a little balance exercise. So reach your right arm in front of you, your left leg back behind you, and hold your balance. think about your belly button pointing straight down towards the floor. Can you reach your fingertips and toes farther away from one another and hold? Again, this is a spine stability exercise. So how still can you keep your back? For 3, 2, and 1, come down, take a quick rest. And then we're gonna go right over to that second side. From here, we reach our left hand out, right toes back behind, reach the fingertips and toes long, far away from one another. I'm gonna come take a quick peek at form. You guys keep holding that balance. Keep your eyes down in front of your fingertips. Try and unlock that right elbow. Beautiful there, guys. You've got it. We hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down, take a rest. Good. Now we're going to go right down onto our stomachs. For pregnancy, you can stay in that all fours position. So lying down on our stomachs, when you get here, this might feel like a lot of tightness or pressure in your back right off the bat. If that's the case, you're going to add a pillow underneath your hips. You can also separate your feet a little bit wider than your mat, and that should give you a little bit of relief. Hands are going to go flat on the mat directly underneath your shoulders, and we're going to start to press up to arch your back. So maybe you're lifting just your upper back. Maybe you can press all the way up to stretch into your low back. Again, work within your spine's comfortable range of motion. It shouldn't feel like pinching, pulling, or stress on your low back. One thing I do notice here, though, is when people start to lift, often the low back is the first thing to arch. You want this stretch to also be for your upper back. So think about pulling your shoulder blades back, shining your heart forward to get that nice curve in your upper back as well. Most of the work can be in your arms here. That allows your back to relax a little bit. We'll try 2 more. Beautiful here, guys. And 1 more time. And we rest all the way down. Now that's one of my favorite stretches for our backs because it's the total opposite position of how we spend most of our day sitting, which is being bent forward. So from here, we're going to roll onto our sides. And I'm rolling onto my left side. We are going to do both, but if you guys want to follow my cues, roll onto your left side, make a little pillow with your bicep, and then bend your knees in close towards your chest. This step is important. We're about to stretch our upper back, our mid back. So having the knees into the chest is what prevents it from going into our lower back this time. So now I'm reaching my right hand in front of me. I'm going to tap the floor and then reach it up and over behind me, reaching for the floor behind me. This is a stretch, like I said, for the upper back. So you can allow your chest to open up and roll. If you have any shoulder sensitivity, you're going to keep your hand on your chest, keep your elbow bent. You actually don't really need your arm to move to get the benefit of this stretch. So nice and easy, allow yourself to breathe. Again, if you feel it in your low back, bend your knees in a little bit closer. I call this stretch book openings because I like to imagine with my top arm, I'm opening the giant page of a book and then I'm closing that page. We'll try 2 more on this side. Awesome job there, guys. And 1 more time here. Good. From here, we're going to go into a little strengthening exercise. So come on up onto your forearm. On your forearm, it's really important to find the position where your elbow is right underneath your shoulder. This exercise is going to be much harder for you if you're really far to one side or the other. So you want to be centered right up over your shoulder and then bring your knees back so they are in line with your hips. You're going to straighten your top leg and rest it down on the floor. So in this case, my right leg. From here, we're going to lift hips up into a side plank. So I'm down on my left knee, holding a plank. Shoulders are open, my hips are stacked. So now we're working to strengthen the side of our body. That gives us support during twisting and sideways type movements. Now, from here, if you can keep that bottom hip still, start to lift and lower your leg. This is totally optional here. If this feels hard, just holding it, just work to hold it. This top leg moving is really a distraction to see how still can you keep the rest of your body. So you shouldn't see that bottom hip bouncing up and down. We'll do 2 more, last time, and then come down and sit yourself on up. Now I'm sitting on my left hip with my legs off to the side. If this doesn't feel good for your hip, add a little pillow. You can sit yourself up or just sit with a diamond shape with your legs in front of you. Find a comfortable seat. So far, we've stretched our spine forwards, backwards, and twisted. We're gonna bend our spine sideways now. So go ahead and plant your left hand on the floor and then reach your right arm up and over. Find a nice big stretch of your right side. We're gonna make this more dynamic now. So we start to windmill our arms up and over. And as you move your arms this way, you can always keep your elbows bent for shoulder sensitivity. You can also make your range of motion a little bit smaller. So just work within what's comfortable for your spine. But for everyone, I want you to try and sit up as tall as you can. We're gonna pause on this next time that our left hand hits the floor and hold it there. Now this is an optional add-on. Rotate your right hand down to put it on the floor as well. So my chest is pointing down. From here, we're gonna do a mini push-up and press the arms away. The straightening of your arms is actually the biggest benefit of this stretch. You can feel how this gives you a little deeper twist. 1 more here, and then we come back to the center, and we're gonna go up and over, do the other side. So we'll go back to the spine rotation, laying down, this time on your right side. So you're making a little pillow with your biceps, bending those knees in nice and close towards your chest. Reach the left arm out in front of you and rotate it up and over. Now, like I said, because this is an upper back rotation, you might feel a big difference from side to side on this one. And that's actually normal. We have our dominant arm and we tend to be a little bit more flexible on that side. Because we are stretching our upper back, make sure you're breathing here. Our rib cage attaches to our upper back, our thoracic spine. And so you want to use your breath to get a deeper stretch. We'll try 2 more here. And 1 more time. Beautiful, guys. And then prop yourself up. We're going to try that little side plank here. So shoulder right over your elbow. Line up your knees. Now, if you need to keep your hips down and just work in this position, this is actually a side plank in a very modified way, so that's okay. Otherwise, you're going to straighten your left leg and go ahead and lift your hips off the floor. So your right knee is down and stack your shoulders, stack your hips. If this is hard, you're going to stay here. Otherwise, start to lift and lower that top leg. So your top leg is straight. And notice I'm not bouncing up and down. I'm keeping this bottom hip super still. So you can even, if you can see yourself in your camera, sometimes that feedback can be helpful. We go for 4, almost there, guys, for 3, last 2, 1 more time. And then we sit ourselves on up, this time sitting on your right hip. You can always sit in that diamond shaped position or put pillows under your hips if you need to. Right hand goes down on the floor. We're going to reach that left arm up and over. Think of opening the side of your left waist like an accordion. Really breathe into that side. And then we take it into our dynamic windmill stretches up and over. And again, this should feel maybe a little bit fun, a little bit freeing. Just move your spine, try and take up space here. We go for 4 more. Last 3. Almost there, guys, for 2. And 1 more time, dive it up and over, hold it there. And then option to rotate, place your left hand on the floor. Your chest is facing down. We go for those mini push-ups, press away. Just 3 more like this. If this doesn't feel good on your spine, that's okay. Just hold this stretch. We have 2 and 1. Come all the way back on up. Nice work, guys. So I'm going to show you a couple things about ergonomics here, and I'm just going to pull out my chair so you can see. So when you are sitting at home, so for this chair, for me, if I were to use the backrest, it would cause me to be quite slumpy. And the goal when you're sitting is to find a 90-degree angle at your knees and at your hips. You also want your low back to follow the natural curve of your spine when you're standing as best you can. So most of us have a little arch in our back when we stand. So I want to work to lift my pelvis up to find that natural curve in my low back. There's kind of a lot of work to do that. So to expect myself to stay in this position all day is probably unrealistic. I would add some pillows behind my back or a lumbar support to help support me once I find this strong position. Now, with that being said, even if you had the perfect position in your spine all day long, your back likes to move. It doesn't like to stay in that position all day. So what I hope you take from this class is, 1, maybe how to set up your work setup a little bit better, but also taking little bits of the exercises from the day and mixing them in maybe every hour or 2 to do 1 or 2 stretches can make a huge impact over the course of the day. So even if you don't have time to do the whole 30 minutes, if you can take 1 or 2 of these stretches, your back will really appreciate that movement over the course of the day. It can break up the stiffness and keep you flexible, keep your spine warm. So